video, I'll break down how to create your own custom paper rip collage transitions in Final Cut Pro 10. Now, if you don't have access to a printer or a scanner, and you don't want to create these complete from scratch, you can go ahead and download my paper texture pack. The paper texture pack comes with 40 plus 4K paper textures. Just simply drag and drop, adjust a couple settings, and you'll be able to add some really cool realistic paper texture to your video. The link is down in the description below, so if you want to go ahead and download it. Again, I will also show you how kind of like break down how I create the texture pack. But again, if you don't have access to the tools or a printer or a scanner, and you just want a simple, easy drag and drop overlays, again, go ahead and download my paper texture pack. Link is down in the description. If you bought my paper texture pack, it should just send you an email. So go ahead and go to the email and just download the paper texture pack. It should come with 4 separate zip files. In order to unzip a file, if you're not aware of how to do this, as you see, here's a zip file. So it just come with 4 of these. This is just one of them. You would select the zip file and just simply double click it, and it's just going to unzip the file. And of course, you are going to see the folder. It's just easier to kind of send stuff via zip file. It's just a lot faster. As you can see, if you open up the folder, here they all are. So let's go ahead and just double click the folder, and then here you can also go over here and click on here, date created, just so it sorts a lot better. Then here are all the paper textures, and then once you unzip the file, you will just go back to Final Cut. Now, don't install this like you would like a preset or a plugin. This is just simply an overlay. So all you would do is click on Command I to import media, and then of course go to like desktop, wherever you have it saved. Here, Joshua Winkens paper texture pack. Open up the folder. You can either select the whole folder itself and import selected, or you could, let's say I want to go here to like paper rip, and I want to use rip 09. Go ahead and just select the one you want, the folder or just the individual file that you want, and then just click simply just click on import selected, and that's basically how you would import the overlays. Now I'm going to show you how I created that intro that you saw in the beginning of the video. Now I'm not going to go ahead and recreate everything from scratch because that's going to take a very long time, but I just want to give you the basic idea, just kind of like the beginner's guide to how to use this paper texture pack. So you can see here is clip number 1. So here's the first clip, and then here is the second clip. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between the 2 clips. So basically just the middle of clip 1 and clip 2. I'm going to go back 1 frame. So basically I'm on the last frame of the first clip. Click on Option F. All that's going to do is that's going to create a freeze frame. Now we'll go ahead and select on this clip and go ahead and just simply drag it. We'll drag out to something like 1 second. All I did was I just froze the last frame of the first clip. So if you play the video, as you can see, it just simply freezes. So there you go, simple as that. You just froze the last frame, and then there is the second clip. Now if I go over here to Joshua Winkens paper texture pack, as you can see here are all the assets. It comes with a total of 48 different assets. So those are all the assets that are included in the pack. I'm going to head over here to the animated paper texture. I'm going to go ahead and just simply drag on an animated paper texture on top of clip number 1, and then just simply trim it. Now anytime the background is black, you want to go over here to blend mode, change the blend mode to screen, and then as you can see, now we can see the clip below it. So it just adds a little bit of like animated texture on top of the video. Now let's go over here to paper textures PNG, and we'll do something like this, paper texture with white scratches. Simply place it on top of the freeze frame layer, and we're just going to option right bracket, trim it, so we have some nice paper texture, and then go over here because the background is black, change the blend mode right here to screen, and as you can see, there we go, now we see the freeze frame. So let's go ahead and play the video, animate paper texture, and then freezes, and there you go. That's what kind of the basic idea of the transition. Now what we're going to do is just going to add a really nice camera flash transition. So let's over here to titles and generators. Let's go up to an adjustment layer and just select and just drag an adjustment layer down on the timeline. What we're going to do is we're going to select the adjustment layer, Control D6, and then click on return. And basically all we did, we just set the duration of this adjustment layer to 6 frames. Now we're going to go forward 1, 2, 3 frames, place a marker. As you can see, basically we're just placing the middle of the adjustment layer in between clip 1 and then the freeze frame. Now head over here to the effects panel, we'll go to all, and we're just going to type in camera flash. Now this is a preset that is for sale on my digital store. I also have some videos breaking down how to create this effect. Basically I just keyframe the exposure of a color board. As you can see, this is what it looks like. Now you have this really nice camera flash transition. So if we go ahead and play the video, as you can see, there we go. Now you have this really nice camera flash transition. We can also click on Command C, copy, so we can just copy and paste it to the next clip. And then as you can see, so now it's in between the freeze frame and clip number 2. So if we play the video, as you can see, there we go. This is a nice camera flash transition. So now let's go ahead and add those really cool like paper rip overlays. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select a couple photos. So we're gonna use this photo, and we're just going to trim this photo to be a couple 10, 15 frames, and then we're just simply gonna drop another photo onto the timeline. So here are the 2 photos that'll be using, you know, basically kind of put them inside those really cool paper rip overlays. So let's go ahead and select paper rip overlay 02, and let's just drag it on top of the photo. So I'm just going to drag it on top of photo number 1, and let's go ahead and just trim it so it fits. So it has the same duration, so 13 frames, and this is also 13 frames. Now here's how you put the photos inside this paper rip overlay. Select on the paper rip overlay, head over here to blend mode, change the blend mode to stencil alpha. So you're going to change the blend mode to stencil alpha. Now you're going to select on this overlay, hold down the option key and drag up. All that's doing is basically duplicating this overlay. Now head over here, now this one you want to change the blend mode to screen. So as you can see, there we go. These two overlays are exactly the same. The top one, blend mode set to screen, and the middle one right here, blend mode is set to stencil alpha. Now you're going to select both overlays and the photo, click on option G, and we'll just call this number 1, and then as you can see, now it's all inside that paper rip overlay, and you can also see the video behind it. Now you're just going to repeat those steps. So select the overlay, place it on top of your photo, make sure it's the same duration as the photo itself, select on the overlay, change the blend mode to stencil alpha, change it to stencil alpha, and then go ahead and just simply duplicate the overlay by holding down option, change the blend mode to screen, and there you go. Now you can actually select on the photo itself, and you can increase the scale of the photo. As you can see, no matter how much I increase the scale or move the photo, it stays inside of the overlay. That's because of this one right here, because we changed it to stencil alpha. So you can actually adjust the position of the photo, and then simply again select all of them, click on option G, and then we'll just press 2. This is the second one, and there you go. Simple as that. Now let's go ahead and select the first overlay and then place it over here, something like this. Now we're gonna go forward. We're gonna go forward like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Place a marker, and then go ahead and just add the second overlay. So there we go. That should look pretty good. Now if you want to adjust the durations, let's go ahead and select on this compound clip, and then select all of these and click on Control D, and then we'll do something like 10 seconds, just so we can extend the compound clip. So if you can't extend the compound clip, you get that red error. Open up that compound clip and just adjust the duration. Now let's go ahead and just select it, and we'll just drag it out, and let's just go ahead and trim. Let's go ahead and select on the overlay. Let's put the adjustment layer on top or in the middle of these two clips, and let's just go ahead and just trim the first photo so it fits right there. And let's go ahead, trim this one, and we'll trim the overlay and the clip itself. Make sure the adjustment layer is right in the middle of the clip right there. So as you can see, everything is lined up. Now let's go ahead and play it. As you can see, boom, it just stacks on top of each other, and then next clip. So there we go. Simple as that. Now I actually added the same photo, but that's okay. It's, you know, we can go ahead. Let's just open up this compound clip, and let's head over here and go ahead and select a different photo. This is just, you know, a good way of showing you. Now actually, if you want to switch the photo, you can just take the photo, drag it onto the clip. So just drag it onto the clip, and then just click on replace from start, and as you see, there we go. And then we can just simply adjust the position of the photo. Actually, I can't remember if that's the same photo. Did I use that photo already? Okay, I already did. So let's go ahead and redo that. Simple again. Just take photo number 2. You want to drag it onto the clip, so drag it onto the actual photo itself, and then just click on replace from start, and there you go. So that's just how you replace photos, as simple as that. And there you go. Now that looks a little bit better. So what we're gonna do is just select on the photo, and because we all grouped them together, we can go ahead and let's just increase the scale. As you can see, because they're in a compound clip, they're all grouped together. So let's just simply adjust the clip, kind of adjust the position, select on this one, and because it's a compound clip, we can just simply drag all of them around together, and there we go. Simple as that. Now that looks a lot better. Now if you want to have it kind of like animate on along the actual like white edges, we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna go forward 1, 2, 3, 4 frames, and we're gonna go ahead and just create a copy. So let's go ahead and select, create a copy. Now we're gonna trim this one, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to this one. These are the exact same copies, but we'll go to this one, and we only want this part showing first. So let's go over here to the effects panel, and let's just simply apply a draw mask. So take the draw mask and apply it onto the actual photo itself. As you can see, now we're just going to cut along this white edge, and of course create as many duplicates as there are lines, and just keep adding draw masks, and it should be pretty self-explanatory. But as you can see, there we go. And then of course you just keep duplicating the clip and keep offsetting it and adding more draw masks. For example, like if this one where there's 3, you would create 3 separate copies, cut out this section first, cut out this one, and then cut out that one. And as you can see, if I play the video, so as you see, this part pops up first, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you go. Simple as that. So that's how you create those really cool like And then as you see, there we go. Simple as that. Now let's go ahead and let's head over here to this photo. We're going to apply a drop shadow. So go to the effects panel. Let's just apply a drop shadow. All the drop shadow is going to do, as you can see, obviously it's going to add a shadow. And you want to do this because what's going to happen is it's going to create depth. So let's go ahead and select on this one. We can just actually we'll go ahead. Let's just group this together. So let's go like Option G and then 2.5, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to place a drop shadow again. Simply apply the drop shadow again onto the photo number 2, and then as you can see, there we go. So we go ahead and just disable it. As you can see, you have a nice shadow. So adding a drop shadow is really nice just because it's just going to help add depth to the actual like overlay itself. Now we can also head over here to tape, and let's just select a tape overlay and then place, we'll just do tape overlay just on this one. Of course you could add this to as many as you want. So simply drag the tape overlay on top and then just go ahead and select the tape overlay itself, and then you can go ahead and just enable the transform tool, and simple as that. You can just adjust the rotation and then obviously place it wherever you want to be. Simple as that, and there we go. That looks really nice. So we're gonna just go ahead and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna group them again with the drop shadow, with the tape, because if we want to animate them or add animation presets, it's just going to be a lot nicer. So let's go over here, select this one, Option G. We'll just do this one, and we'll just call this one paper, and then select on this one, hold, and then Option G, 2 paper. Actually, we'll just call it, we'll just leave it as 2. The reason you want to group them all together after you add the drop shadow or the tape overlay, whatever you end up adding, is if you add animation presets and you don't group them, sometimes the animation can be a little bit off. If any animation or any preset you're using is ever like off or looks weird, try grouping everything together and then adding the preset. Usually that should fix most of the issues. As simple as that. Now that looks a lot better. Now you can also go over here. One thing that I did too in the intro, I went over here to blur, and then I added a Gaussian blur onto this one. And what I did was I just set the amount, I think something like maybe like 7 or something like that. I think or maybe we'll go something like 5. I added a little bit of blur to it because you can see we're kind of like adding depth. So it kind of like acts as like this is like a little bit closer to the camera, so it's going to be a little out of focus. That is just a little tip that I did. As you can see, I feel like it just adds depth and just looks a little bit better. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head over here to titles and generators. We are going to add another adjustment layer and place it on top of all the photos. We're going to go ahead and just trim this adjustment layer so it fits these paper overlays, and let's just drag the camera flash on top. I don't think it really matters, but it's just a lot more organized. Now let's head over here to the effects panel, and we're going to go to R and shake, this really cool like shake preset. Now if you watch like After Effects tutorial, there's like that shake sauce plugin. Well, this is basically like shake sauce for Final Cut. Now we're going to apply there's a whole bunch of shake effects. Let's go ahead and apply the handheld twirling effect onto the adjustment layer. Now the reason you want to put it on the adjustment layer and why the adjustment layer is on top of everything is because anything you apply on the adjustment layer, so if you apply a scale animation, a rotation animation, whatever you apply to the adjustment layer is going to affect everything below it. So because we added this really cool animation onto the adjustment layer and the adjustment layer is on top of everything, now this one, and this all 4 of these layers are going to be animating. So if we go ahead and play the video, as you can see, there we go. Obviously that looks a little bit weird, but as you see, now we just add a little bit of shake to it. And of course you could adjust the settings. I will go ahead and put up on screen the exact settings that I used so you can copy them, but there we go. Simple as that. That is just a very basic idea of how to recreate that transition, and of course take the steps that I showed you and make it more advanced. This is just a very beginner friendly guide to how to use my paper overlays and how to recreate a similar transition to the one you saw in the intro. Now I also want to show you how to use this really cool like alpha mask transition. Now I only created one of these because I want to hear your feedback. If you really like this and you want me to create more, let me know, but I just created one kind of like as a test example. So let's go ahead and select on the first clip and click on Option Command up arrow to basically move it above the timeline. Now let's go ahead and trim this for about 9 frames. This is a really cool thing that I kind of just messed around with. I would love your feedback on whether or not you want me to create more of these. So we're going to do these really cool like alpha transitions. So we're simply just going to apply the first one, the second one. I numbered them to make sure those are, they're in the correct order. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select all 3 of these, click on Control D, click on the number 3, and then click return. So we just set the duration to 3 frames. Now let's go ahead and just line these up. Make sure, of course, the numbers are in correct order. It's why I numbered them. And as you can see, but that looks a little bit weird. So let's play the video. As you can see, Now this looks a little bit weird. So let me show you basically how to do it. So what you would do is you select on all three of these and click on Option G, and we'll just call this transition. So simple as that. We'll just call this transition. I think that's spelled right. Now what you want to do is you want to select on the transition, head over here to blend mode, and then go over here and click on stencil luma. And there we go. Now you want to do is you want to select the transition, the combo clip, and clip number 1, select them together, click on Option G, and we'll just call this rip. So go ahead and just, you want to group those two together. As you can see, now we can see the clip below it. Select on the first clip. Let's increase the scale a little bit to like 102. And then as you can see, because we utilize alpha masks, as you can see, look at this. It's just a really cool transition. So let me know. As you can see, there's some nice, you see some nice paper rips. It's not perfect, a little bit of paper rips right here. This is just kind of like a beta test. So let me know what you think of this transition, and I will try to create more of these. The reason I wanted to do this is because a lot of paper transitions that I've seen utilize green screen. So of course, if you have green in your clip, you can't always use the transition because it looks a little bit weird. So here's just an example. Here's just kind of like the beta test of the first one. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to create more of these, and I will definitely, keep my word and create more of these alpha mask paper transitions. Now I want to show you how to use these really cool paper rip overlays. So what you want to do is you want to select in the clip and then just duplicate the clip. So go ahead and just duplicate the clip. Now I'm not going to recreate that intro because that's going to take a very long time. I will go frame by frame and showing you how I create it. So let's go ahead and just trim this clip, and we'll just something like this to be specific. Let's go ahead and just select it like this. So now we just have a duplicate, and these clips of course are exactly the same. So let's go over here to paper rips. I'm just going to show you the basic idea of how I did it. So simply apply the paper rip on top of your video. As you can see, of course you can do this with photos or videos. Select on the paper rip. We're going to increase the scale, and we're just going to rotate it a little bit. Simple as that. And now we're going to go ahead and just apply another paper rip, and let's place this below the first paper rip, and then we're just going to simply trim the overlay. Now let's go ahead and select on this paper rip, and let's just kind of like adjust the rotation, maybe increase the scale a little bit, and let's just move it over on screen till we get it to be in the position that we want. Now actually, we're going to take this clip and we're just going to duplicate it again. So what you're going to do is you're going to select on this clip. We're going to do this section first. So select on the top clip, and we're going to increase the scale to something really big. Now what you want to do is you want to go over here and you want to go to all, and you want to take a draw mask. So simply going to apply a draw mask. You want to apply the draw mask onto the video clip, not onto the paper rip, onto the video clip. Now what you're going to do is let's scroll a little bit, and now you're going to trace along the paper rip. But very important, don't apply this draw mask onto the actual paper rip itself. You're placing it onto the clip, and as you can see, we're just simply, so if you see, if I remove the paper rip, this is what it looks like, or if I move this is what it looks like. We just increase the scale and then add some paper rips and trace along the edges. Now let's go ahead and select on this one. If you want to increase, so let's select on this video right here. Let's increase the scale to something like this. Go over here to the effects panel, take the draw mask. Remember, apply the draw mask onto the actual clip. Let's scroll out to 50%, and let's say we want to trace along, well, that's a little bit off. Let's go ahead and simply trace along the actual paper rip, and then and there we go, simply trace along the paper rip, and as you can see, there we go. So see, that's what it looks like. So again, you're just basically adjusting the position of the paper rip, and you're tracing along the paper rip, but very important, again, make sure the draw mask is selected or applied onto the actual clip, and you're just tracing along the paper rip, and there you go. That's how you create, and of course you just keep duplicating the step, adding more paper rips and adjusting everything. So if I go over here, let's open up the example of the intro that I showed you, the one that you saw in the beginning. So let's simply open up the project, and let's go ahead and I'll show you. This is what it looks like. So you can see it's exactly what I did, but I just added more, and as you can see, there we go. That's what it looks like. So go 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, and there you go. So you see it's exactly the same, but again, I just added more, and there you go. That's just again, that's just the very basic idea, and then just keep replicating that step to get something that looks very similar in the intro. Now, if you're wondering how I actually created these overlays, it's actually very simple. Now, I have a printer and scanner in one. Of course, you may just have like a separate printer and a separate scanner. For me, it was like a kind of like a two-in-one kind of like, printer and scanner. Basically, all you're just doing is you're actually just printing out these pieces of paper and just simply ripping them. So it's kind of give you a brief idea of how I did it, and I'll go ahead and just put like pictures and b-roll up on the screen as I talk. So I basically just took like a black piece of paper, scanned it to my phone. Now my printer and scanner are actually just wirelessly, so I just print and scan just via my phone because it's a wireless printer. So you're just simply going to print out paper. Now in order to create those really nice paper edges that you saw, basically what I did was I printed out a black piece of paper on white paper. So I just, of course, you go to the internet and just find a black image, and you're just going to print it out on white paper. It's really important that you print it out on just regular standard white paper, because the front of the paper is going to be black, however the back is going to be white because you printed it off on white paper. And you're simply just going to rip along the edges, and because there's black on the front and then white behind it, and the paper is layered, and then when you rip along the edges, it creates this really cool like white edges. So that's how you create that similar effect that Brian Dalmata, of course, does. So obviously I want to show you how to recreate it. Now, I'm not trying to try to rip off his paper effect or anything like that. I'm just simply showing you like a different version. I'm kind of just give you a basic idea of probably how he did it. Of course, he probably did it a little bit different, but just want to give you a basic idea of how you could replicate a similar effect to that. Now, I also just bought like a very generic white gel pen and just add some dust and add some scratches, and then just scanned it again to my computer, or scanned it from my phone to my computer. And then basically what I did was I made sure that I used green construction paper. So as you can see, this is what it looks like. So I just scanned it. Here's the black one, and then here's the green construction paper. I just simply put that black piece of paper on top of construction paper, green construction paper, and then just simply scanned it to my phone. And the reason you want to apply, you want to have it on a green background, if I head over here, and I'll go ahead and just apply a keyer effect, and if I apply the keyer effect, as you can see, voila, there we go. And of course you can adjust, you go over here to like, a crop and scale, so if you want to crop that white part out. So there we go. So basically this green construction paper acts as a green screen, and simple as that. Now if I go over here to project settings, go over here to modify, here are my project settings, 4K. You want to use this codec so you have a transparent background, and I just simply went over here to go over here to save current frame, go to save current frame, and then go over to settings and make sure it is .png. You want to be a .png file, that way it's transparent. And again, I kept doing the exact same thing. I just added tape, or I actually just ripped up paper, put it on a green construction paper, scanned it, and then just use the keyer effect to remove the background, export as a PNG image, and simple as that. Now if I go over here to these like animated paper textures, if you're wondering how I created this, I just took a piece of paper, construction paper, or notebook paper, and I just simply scanned it. And I'm not going to give you a complete comprehensive video of how I did it, but basically I just put it into Apple Motion, and then I applied the randomized parameter behavior to the X position, the Y position, and the Z rotation, and just applied a strobe effect, and then I exported Apple Pro as 4444. Now I will put a screenshot up on the screen just to show you what it looks like. So if you're a more advanced editor, or you're just aware of how Apple Motion works, there is a screenshot. Of course, you can go ahead and copy that to get there's really cool like animated rock back and forth backgrounds. Now lastly, I want to kind of include this in the video as kind of like a bonus tip. I want to show you how to create your very own custom paper rip transition. So basically what I did was I went ahead and just selected this clip. I wanted to use this frame as the first frame, then I went forward 1-2 frames, took another screenshot, and then 1-2 frames, took another screenshot, and then I just simply, so all you would do is head over here and then click on save current frame, and then just export as a PNG image. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. I just printed it out on white paper. I just used Canva. Of course, you could use Photoshop if you want to. That's completely up to you. So just go ahead and print it out, and then you're just simply going to rip it up. You're just simply going to rip up the paper and kind of like simulate a transition. And now you want to make sure when you scan it again, you want to make sure again there's green construction paper so you can key out the background. So if I go ahead and let's just go ahead and just trim it. So it's going to trim the gap clip, something like this. So there we go. Here's where the transition starts. Now let's go ahead and trim this clip, and we're going to go ahead and take in the one that we scanned with the green construction paper background. So simply take this, and then we're just going to set the duration of this to like Control D. Actually, I set it to like 3 frames. So there we go. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to simply, let's just scale out to like 25%. Actually, maybe let's go to maybe like 50%. Should look a little better. Now set over the transform tool, and now we're just simply going to increase the scale. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to fit this back on screen. Obviously it's not going to look as perfect, so let's go ahead and just increase the scale a little bit. Let's just move the Y position and the X position, and as you can see, there we go. Simple as that. As you see, that looks a lot better. So we go ahead, and now what you want to do is you want to head over here to the keyer effect, go over to keyer effect, apply it, and as you can see, there we go. Now you have removed the green background. So you can see, simple as that. So like 1, 2, and there we go. Now we'll go ahead and just going to create 2 more copies. So paste it 2 more times because we have a total of 3 frames. Go over here, select on the second one. You're going to drag it up until you see, there we go. There's the next one. Now select on this one. Now head over here to the Y position and drag this up 2 more times, so you can go ahead and see the third one. And then I set this duration something like, I think like 5 frames. frame, something like this. So you can see, so here it is. Here's the video, it freezes, really cool paper rip, and then as you see, it just creates like a really cool stop motion effect. So if I go ahead and play the video, as you can see, this is what it looks like, and there you go, it's just kind of like freezes, and there's like a really cool stop motion paper rip effect, and there you go, it's just as simple as that. And there we go, that's how you create these really cool paper rip transitions, obviously either using my paper pack, making them for yourself, or going ahead and actually just taking like your clip, taking screenshots, and then ripping it up. So this is just a very, like, I know this is probably like a very long video. I didn't like, super go in depth with everything, but just want to give you a very basic idea of how people create paper rip transitions, also how to use my paper texture pack. And there you go, that is pretty much all that I want to show you in this video. If you enjoy these types of videos, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to buy some really cool paper overlays or some other cool like Final Cut plugins, definitely go ahead and check out my store. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. Peace.